Hello, 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 hello. This is the second recording of today, so let's continue. Okay, so I already saved, right? Yeah, Cold War. So I think the obvious thing, I was like, hey, come on, cut me and Lily some slack. Hey, I'm the new guy, remember? It's not like I could have done much, even if I wanted. That's right, you shouldn't expect a transfer student to jump right into it on his first week. Lily taking my side feels oddly comforting, so I decide to back her up too. Yeah, you're being unreasonable with us both. She's pissed. Excuses, excuses. Miss Glass Rep has had plenty of time to deal with her paperwork. And we repeatedly offered you a position to help with the student council work, but you refused to commit yourself to making the festival a success. Yeah, but as said back then, I'm not sure if I don't have time for this right now. No matter what I do, it will mean being drawn into confrontation with Shizune, and that is what she wants. Whatever, forget it. I turn my back at them. I get back to my seat and shut my ears from the finale of the argument between Lily and Shizune. Eventually, Lily leaves our classroom, and Shizune and Misha seat themselves without talking to me. I can feel Shizune's eyes burning into my back. She's probably angry at me, but I'm just as angry with her. I don't get why she had to drag me into an argument. Hanako doesn't come to the morning class at all, leaving her seat looking empty and lonely in the back of the classroom. I had to tell her that Lily was looking for her, if I see her later. After the events of this morning, class is pretty boring in comparison. I turn the pages of my textbook lazily. I have a lot of catching up to do. Despite trying to keep up with my studies at the hospital, I'm not feeling very enthusiastic about it. The clock at the front of the room sounds unbearably loud. The teacher hasn't said anything in over 7 minutes. Instead of opting to cover the board in rows and rows of equations taken directly from the book, the rhythmic clashing of chalk on blackboard seems to synchronize perfectly with the ticking of the clock. I start to copy down the equations just to pass the time, even though they are right there in the textbook. When the bell rings, I'm not in a hurry, because I have nothing to do, so I stay for a while, reviewing what we covered in class today. I prefer to leave last anyway, so I don't have to deal with the crowding in the hallways. I notice Shizune and Misha have also stayed behind, talking to someone from another class. Shizune's signing so fast that her hands make noises like swords cutting through the air. Maybe there's pent-up anger in there. Misha is trying desperately to keep up, but it's clear she can barely manage to even understand her. I put my head down. Whatever they're discussing, it sounds like serious business. Shizune signs to the point where her wrists crackle, and Misha struggles to spit it out in word form. Sometimes she trips over herself like she's dealing with tongue twisters, and then on top of that, she has to sign back anything the other girl says. Seems like a rough job. Misha looks tired, like she's about to faint. Lucky for her, their business is soon finished, and the girls sit down on their seats again. Wow, I'm so tired. She's hanging her head limply on her desk, looking exhausted. I'll use the opportunity to reconcile with Shizune a bit, without getting roped into the student council thing again. Though I suspect that door is now closed for me. Festival preparations must be tough for you. Indeed, the people in the school seem to be taking the festival very seriously. Whenever I see people idling... Indeed, the people in the school seem to be taking the festival very seriously. Whenever I see people idling around before and after class, they're always talking about their plans for it. It's kind of neat to see everyone being so enthusiastic about it. I'm probably the only one who doesn't have something to do. Shizune scoffs at me at first, as if trying to decide whether to ignore or sneer at me. But in the end, she starts signing without doing either. Misha perks up, looking at her hands with slightly unfocused eyes. She signs with harsh, heavy, dramatic strokes. Misha translates her signing into speech for me. She does it so well, it's almost like Shizune is actually speaking, transmitting her thoughts directly through Misha. She must have practiced it vigorously. Well, of course. We're in the student council, you know. So we're pretty busy. It's an important duty of ours to ensure the success of the festival with all our strength. We would shame ourselves in front of the past student council generations if the festival were to fail. Sometimes I had to wonder, what is this dialogue? That's why there must be no flaws, I think that was encumbrances? No, nothing that might make the festival short of perfect. Shizune's passionate speech and Misha's enacting are oddly fitting of them. Oh, hello? I look over my shoulder and see Hanako peering timidly into the classroom, most of her body hidden behind the door. Hey, playing delinquent again? Hanako blushes hard at Misha's straightforward jab, even if it was only in jest. Shizune stares at her probingly, causing Hanako to look down and start backing away, to the point where only her fingers can be seen wrapped nervously around the edge of the door. Maybe she's showing her dislike of Hanako by association of her dislike of Lily. It appears so, and Hanako probably knows it as well. What is it, Hanako? Has Lily been here? Sorry, I haven't seen Sato. She came by in the morning though. Hanako keeps looking uneasily at Shizune, who stares back at her with her usual studying gaze. Is what she's trying to do. Of course, Shizune isn't going to look away, and she is intimidating enough as it is, so I can only imagine how terrified Hanako would be. It is a little uncomfortable watching Hanako's reaction to Shizune's normal behavior. This is what happens when two people of two different extremes meet, it seems. Do you know where she is? If she has any sense in her head, she is in her classroom working on their festival project. But who knows where that woman is loitering at? Hanako nods quickly and retreats with haste. What were we talking about? Oh yeah, we are really working hard to make this festival happen. And driving other people insane along the way. Well, good luck with that. I stand up to leave, making my exit before either of them manages to berate me anymore for slacking off. The halls are somewhat quiet, as expected. Everyone must be in club meetings or at festival preparations or both. Shizune's words about being a slacker echo in my head. I feel a bit guilty about not contributing, but I seem to lack the resolve to do anything concrete about the matter. For the festival, it's too late already, unless I count helping Shizune and Misha, which I naturally don't. And clubs? I don't know. Maybe I'm not a club type of person? Halfway through the way from the school building to the dorms, I spot a figure in front of the dorms. It's Rin. It looks like she's working on her mural today, too. I walk over to her, but she doesn't seem to notice me approaching. She's sitting in an upturned box, looking intently at the wall she is painting, with a brush held between her toes. The mural has progressed considerably since yesterday, but it's only still half done as far as I can tell. More colors have appeared, and the twisted human-like figures have spread and increased in number. I have to say, the style is quite eye-catching and very unique. Not that I would be knowledgeable about any art by any measurable scale, but it's very nice looking nonetheless. I clear my throat to get her attention, but not startle her so that her concentration won't break. Wait, she doesn't even turn to check who it is. I'll wait. "15 minutes later, I decide that her concentration is indeed unbroken, and also that I've waited long enough to warrant poking her gently on the shoulder to remind her of my presence. Rin turns her head mechanically to my direction, ending up staring at my crotch level. Jesus. Oh, it's his ow. She can tell? I would feel a lot less uncomfortable if she would look at my face. An astute observation. Hard at work, I see. The concentration starts as if I hadn't been here for a quarter of an hour already. But it's not a concern. At least it starts. Looking good. It does. The layers of paint hiding other layers of paint, mixing and shaping the human figures, really create an impressive look. But Rin looks miffed. You shouldn't comment on works in progress. 7 years of bad luck. Sounds terrible. Guess I'll have to take it then. It still looks good. I wonder if I get 14 years of bad luck for thinking that. Rin turns back to look at her painting and pokes it with a big toe. Could you mix some of this color? I'm running out of it. She looks down at a half-empty bowl with the remains of the same pinkish paint in it. I don't really intend to stay and help her with this project, though. I guess I didn't intend to do anything much. I look at Rin. She looks emptily back at me. Just this once. Rin picks up another brush and drenches it in another tone of pale red. There are dozens of similar bowls all around her working area. From the looks of this scene, she could have been sitting there for hours. I wonder if she has. That would mean she'd have been skipping school, though. Which I, of course, wouldn't put beyond someone like Rin. I pour a little bit of white and red into the bowl, trying to match the color with the one already on the wall. I can't seem to get it right. It's really inconvenient of her to not mix enough in the first place. Getting it to be exactly the same tone will be impossible. But at least I can try to get as close as I can. Speaking of hard work, isn't that a huge workload for you? It's such a big painting and all. Oh, I'm not old and big and bitter enough to think like that. I guess you aren't. You guessed right. Legs hurt though. They feel like slugs. Slugs made of sea slugs. Because of the position? Yeah, I like doing it in a horizontal position more, if you know what I'm talking about. But it can't be helped. I can't ask the wall to lay down. Saying that, she stretches herself a little, bending her legs and back far more than a human should flex. It's astonishing how effortlessly she manages her body around. There's a small flinch in her otherwise blank expression, a hint of pain maybe, as she stretches out her calves. Rin must have stamina and dexterity far above the normal person to be able to live like she does, but she's wearing out working on this. Why push yourself so much? Take a break or do something at least. Continue tomorrow if it's bad. That gives her pause. A long one too. Feeling like a mental yawn. I don't think so, Hizao. I'm not pushing myself. Sure looks like you are. No, it's not about pushing or pulling or anything related to that kind of thing. There is this boy. A boy? Yes. Where? At the art club. And? He is blind. Oh, how can you paint if you're blind? No idea. So that's why... So why is he there? That's the point. He is there. She should really speak more than one word at a time to make this feel more like a discussion and less like an interrogation. Well, I mean, like... It's like a deaf person playing music. Was it Mozart who, like, is deaf but could still make excellent pieces of music? I think it was Mozart. So, like, a blind person getting into painting, I'm sure that will look like something... look like something interesting. Anyways. He can't do anything that you'd call art, right? But he comes there anyway and paints. Why? I don't know. Why? I don't know. That's why I asked. So? He doesn't paint often, but I think his paintings are very interesting. I'm sure they are. I once tried that. Painting with my eyes closed. Wasn't too interesting. And cleaning up the floor took ages. Didn't try again. But he's becoming better at sculpting. Yeah, that does make sense, since, like, you know, a blind person would have to, like, you know... A blind person is more capable of feeling things, and, like, the texture and how things are shaped. Because, again, like, the brain uses a lot of its power through vision, right? And if someone were to go blind, right, well, where does the rest of that power go? Well, it could go into other senses, like, for example, touch. And basically, I'm going off the rails with this, but, like, some blind people, what they will do is that they will, like, touch another person's face to get, like, a feel of what they look like. And, and like, it's a real thing. Like, anyways. Maybe she was trying to make a point with this. Maybe she forgot she had one. Seems like the art club is full of interesting people. Not really. Pretty blunt statement. She totally missed the sarcasm. To be fair, I did too. No? Just like I said, they are not very interesting. I usually don't have much interest in people who are not interesting. Maybe you have. Maybe? But that boy is interesting. Maybe I am like that boy. Or maybe you are. Maybe everyone is. Doing things you can't do just because you can. That's pretty deep, I think. And tell that to her. You're a deep one. Nah. I'm a really shallow and thoughtless person. People say that to me all the time. Did you know I can only think of 4 things at the same time? No, but I do now. But now I do. Right now I'm thinking of the second floor girls' toilet, ice cream flavored ice cream, the middle toe, and a haircut. I'm going to need a haircut. And she shakes her head around vigorously, letting her short and messy hair ruffle wildly around. I can see that she's doing it is something she likes to do. We fall silent as Rin threads around absently, poking some brushes around. The thought about the art club sticks in my head for a while longer. I'm feeling like I'm treading on very unknown territory with art. The way these meetings with Rin go, it's as though I'm starting a smoking habit or something. I should probably stop talking to her. It's not that I dislike her, despite the confusion her being herself causes, and I don't dislike art either. I've even drawn for fun sometimes. I just don't have a real creative drive or any technical skill. So usually, if I were to draw something, I get white paper syndrome and just freeze completely. That, or manage to draw something disfigured and promptly get frustrated at my inability to put the picture in my mind down on the paper. Then call it quits without really even trying to make an effort. Rin clearly doesn't have this problem, but she frustrates me in another way. Being with her is like looking into a mirror that doesn't reflect anything. It makes one question the sanity of the act. Rin sits down on her box, swaying from side to side, apparently comfortable with the uncomfortable silence. She's staring at me again, or maybe over my shoulder? I can't quite figure out where her eyes are focused. I'm thinking of leaving so she can carry on working undistracted, and that I can do whatever I'm going to do alone. It's not like I have anything that must be done today. Oh, shoot. Who? Nobody. I just forgot to tell Hanako that Lily was looking for her. Do you know her? From my class? Oh, her? The mystery toilet girl. The what? That person is funny. I saw her going to the toilet 5 times during one recess 3 weeks ago. I'm sure it's the world record. It was very mysterious. So that's why you call her the mystery toilet girl? What other reason would there possibly be? Well, if there is, it's an eternal mystery. I didn't follow her in there. Maybe it was the week before that. Could have been. Looking at her makes me makes me hungry. Don't say that. Just at least not around her. Rin looks at me blankly, as if she's not sure why I reproved her. But she doesn't acknowledge understanding any more than before, so I give up at this point. Was she gonna say her burned skin looks like bacon or some shit? So you want to go eat dinner then? No, not yet. Rin has turned her hungry gaze back to the wall, looking slightly more energetic, or at least slightly less lethargic than she did before. It's as if the wall is an opponent she has to vanquish, something she must overcome before she can indulge in dinner. This is the feeling I get. A weird sense of empathy overcomes me and makes me smile a little to myself. For all her oddity, Rin is pretty cool after all. I'll be going anyway. Have fun. Rin has already grasped a brush and is dipping it into fresh paint. So of course she can't hear me anymore, or doesn't answer anything even if she does. Adhering to the nurse's nagging voice in the back of my head, I set my alarm clock to wake me up early enough to go jogging again. I made a promise, and I'm going to keep it. Besides, Emmy is bound to rat on me if I don't show up. But it's not all that bad. My morning alarm goes off, as I flail around uselessly for a while, until I remember that I decided to give morning runs another shot. I don't know if this was my greatest idea, but I'm determined to keep going. This is about my health after all. Sure, things haven't been great lately for me, but that hasn't made existence so intolerable that I'm not going to try anything I can do to stay healthy. Besides, it's all about asserting some kind of control over this thing, right? If I can manage that, well, I can manage anything. At least, that's what I keep telling myself. Once again, it would appear I'm not alone anymore on my run. Emmy has apparently been here for some time. It looks like she's already worked up a good sweat. Just what the hell does she come... Just when the hell does she come down here anyway? Oh, it's you. I'm surprised to see you again. Why's that? Well, not many people manage to come back for a second try. She frowns, seemingly annoyed by a passing thought. Like the rest of the track team, for instance. Still, it was only supposed to be on a volunteer basis, so it's not that big of a shock. And I guess it's pretty early in the morning. A shrug, and suddenly it appears that she's forgotten what she was talking about. The frown disappears entirely, and she seems to snap back to her previous train of thought. So come on then. What? You're here to run again, right? Well, yes. So come on. I find myself suddenly grabbed and yanked onto the track. Things seem to be set on mirroring yesterday's run. That is, I seem to be struggling while Emmy moves with an effortlessness that I find enviable. It's incredibly bothersome to be so easily worn out. I know I should be patient, work towards things gradually, but it's difficult to stay positive about this. We round the track and start on our second lap. Emmy seems to have grown impatient keeping pace with me, and begins to pull away. This is where I gave out yesterday. Will I be able to do more? Okay, so I think I'm going to save here. There you go. Alright. Take it easy or go for it. You know what? Let's go for it. What am I doing here? Am I really just gonna fold and let Emmy pull ahead? I speed up. The seconds lapse done quickly, and without even considering it, I keep going. Emmy looks back over her shoulder at me and grins. Still going? I wouldn't want you To think I'm out of shape. Emmy laughs without breaking her stride, no less. It speeds up even more. Well, if this is the way we're going to play things, I increase my own pace as well. I can feel my lungs burning, and my legs starting to question just what the hell I think I'm doing. Lactic acid screams in my muscles, but I close my ears. I can't let myself fall behind because that would be a loss. The rational voice in my head inquires mildly, just when we started playing a game. I'd answer that, but I'm having a lot of trouble thinking at present. She's so fast! How the hell did she does it? It's like a string pulling at my chest. A choking feeling of narrowness and pain. Before I can think of anything else, then, oh shit! The track disappears from under my feet. I stumble, one hand shooting down to clutch at my chest, the other hitting the track to keep me from falling on my face. Emmy whirls around and her eyes widen. Hizao! She yells at me, sprinting from the other side of the track. What's wrong? Nothing, just keep your breathing steady. Calm down. Don't panic. Don't panic. Do you need me to get the nurse? I close my eyes, shutting out the outside world. My heart struggles to regain its rhythm. Slowly, the pain in my chest begins to subside. Soon it's gone like nothing happened. It was nothing? Something happened there. I open my eyes again and glance at a very worried Emmy. I think I'm fine. My voice sounds weird even to myself. Oddly even, and matter of fact, it makes Emmy frown. I don't think you are. She seems to come to a decision and nods to herself. Right, you're coming with me. You've got to see the nurse. Emmy grabs my arm and drags me up. I feel a bit wobbly, but I refuse the shoulder Emmy offers for support. Honestly, I'm a little ashamed of my own weakness. I'd rather not have Emmy concerned about me, but it seems to be too late. Heck. I'd really rather not have anyone concerned about my condition. Though, at this point, it seems to be too late for that as well. I'd like to be able to deal with the whole thing on my own, without being a bother to anyone else. While I'm wishing for things I'd rather not have this condition in the first place. Nurse! Emmy crashes into his office without knocking, but it doesn't alarm the nurse in the least. Good morning, Sunshine. What's up? Sunshine? Anyway, he calmly sips from his coffee mug, but lays it down after following Emmy's gaze to me looming in the doorway. Hizao? What brings you here? We were running and he... Alright, hold on. Just, yeah, text history. We were running and he stumbled over and started grabbing his chest. I thought I'd come get you and make him wait there, but he said he was okay, but then I thought you'd see him anyway. Easy there, Emmy. Calm down. There you go. Hizao, what happened? I don't know. We were running, and then my chest started hurting like that time before, but then it went away after a few seconds. It was just a flutter or something. The nurse frowns, as if to say that just a flutter is some kind of oxymoron. I didn't mean quite this when I suggested to get some exercise. You've got to be more careful, Hizao. I was being careful, I just... Come to think of it, I just got into a race with a member of the track team. Doesn't seem as well-reasoned as I thought it would. You just what? That is... I was racing Emmy. Emmy, is this true? Emmy fidgets, looking adorably contrite. Well... Finally, she can't bring herself to say it aloud and merely nods. The nurse sighs and rubs his forehead with one hand tiredly. Emmy, you've got to be more sensitive to the limits of others. I don't know if he told you, but Hizao has a bad heart, and getting him to race you was incredibly irresponsible. Actually, I started it. The nurse is stunned by my statement. You what? We were just running, and Emmy started to pull away, so I sped up to catch her. The nurse stares at the ceiling, mutters a prayer for patience to some god or another, and looks back down at the both of us. So you're both stupid. That's a comfort, I guess. Come on, Hisao. I've got to make sure your heart's not going to explode or something. I dutifully obey, and follow him to the adjacent room where we ascertain that I am, in fact, not going to keel over and die. So how does it feel? I don't know. Nothing much. Tired, but it might be just from the exercise. You should stay here for a few hours and rest, and we'll see how you feel after that. I'm not going to object, so I lie down on the infirmary bed. A thoroughly miserable Emmy comes in after getting an earful from the nurse in the other room. I couldn't hear what he said through the closed door, but I'm sure it wasn't pleasantries. Look, I'm really sorry. I should have been more careful. Hey, you didn't know. It's not your fault. She looks awfully down and sorry, but my reassurances don't do anything much to cheer her up. I want to make it up to you. Again, with that decisive nod. So, you have to come to lunch with me. I'll bring it for you, okay? Something really good. I start with a, you don't have to, but then shut up and just nod when I see your face. Good. We'll meet on the roof. We? Yep, the weather's nice now, so the roof's a good spot for lunch, you know. I see. You'll come, right? You won't deny me a chance to make it up to you. Of course not. Great, see you there. I stay afloat somewhere between asleep and awake, feeling completely drained. Not only my body, but all of me is limp and paralyzed apart from my senses. I swallow with difficulty, and then try to lie as still as I can, which in this state is not a very hard thing to do. The nurse is shuffling around on the other side of the curtains he drew to give me privacy. I can see his shadow shifting around in the sunlight. He has opened the window to his office. It's windy outside. The clean white curtains flutter in the breeze, and a heavy lazy motion like waves. Light sifts through them slowly, half absorbing them into the fabric. I close my eyes. The breeze on my face feels like the soft fabric of the curtains. I listen to the sound of my heartbeat for a moment, trying to shut out the sound of the nurse tapping away on his computer, and my own heavy breathing. It's steady. Damn it. Not even a week and I end up like this again. I really screwed up this time. I should have known better than to play the half-baked sports star in front of a real one. And why did I try to act brave like that? Like that heart flutter was no big deal. Even when it was obvious that it was. It was just a reflex. To push it away, to keep it inside. I didn't want it to happen. I didn't want Emmy to see it. Stupid. I have to be more careful, or I'll end up in the hospital again. Or worse. That's my final thought before I give in to the tiredness. I fell asleep. For how long? What time is it? I'm feeling a little lightheaded, and I keep blinking compulsively. Pushing the curtain aside, I squint my eyes against the unfiltered light pouring in from the window. The texture of the canvas feels nothing like the wind did before. The nurse looks up from his work, sitting exactly where he was before. How are you feeling? I can't really tell, so I don't answer anything. I'm feeling kinda groggy from falling asleep at such a weird time. Hopefully I don't look too weird. What time is it? Me croaking the question to gain some orientation. The nurse looking at his rich wristwatch before answering. Things seem to happen in slow motion. 10:15. I tried to think for a moment. What that means, I'm probably not sure. You didn't answer my question, Isao. Oh, fine. Climb down from that bed then, and let's see how you're doing. Don't I try to do exactly that, only to sway dizzily when I move too fast. The nurse moves to support me by an arm and sighs. Stand too quickly, is what I was trying to say. Just sit there, I'll check your pressure to make sure. My good intentions sure lasted a long time. I shut up, embarrassed of myself, while the nurse gets busy with an old-fashioned contraption on my arm. After a couple of minutes, he puts it away, looking neither pleased nor unhappy. You're alright? Head stop spinning? Yeah. Good. And how are the contents doing? You didn't show very good judgment out there, Hazao. I swallowed the retort I was going to make. It's what I was thinking to myself. But hearing it stated by somebody else makes me want to protest. What he's saying is not pleasant to hear. Doesn't make him any less right. Is not pleasant to hear. Doesn't make him any less right. No, sir. He nods, still looking as neutral as he was before. It would be easy to get angry at him if he said, "Told you so" or something, but he doesn't. I can try to help you with your health, but ultimately the last call lies with you. Hopefully this little episode will be something that'll remind you of that. Here, a note for your teacher, to avoid an interrogation. I take the slip of paper he's offering, and then take my leave, as I can't think of anything else to say, nor really want to. Stay out of trouble, you hear me? Don't think it was anything but a scare, but next time could be different. I hear you. There's some way to get to the school building straight from the auxiliary building, but I'm not keen to find out and possibly get lost, so I go out from the next exit that I know works. I stop at the stairs of the auxiliary building, deliberating for a moment before going to the doors to get my books and stuff, and going straight away to the class. The sun stings my eyes, so I head towards the dorms. The halls are quiet as the courtyard was. Naturally so. Everyone is in class. I knock lightly at the door of 3-3 and push open the door when Mutuo calls from the other side. Sorry I'm late. 15 pairs of eyes turn to me. Good morning, Nakai. Mutuo seems to be somewhat confounded by my coming in late, as if I interrupted his flow or something. Judging from the rambling lectures his classes tend to be, that might be the case. I pass him the note the nurse gives me. Mutuo takes it with a nod and reads it quickly. He lifts his eyebrows and gives me a stern look, but doesn't say anything, just nods solemnly again. I shrug, and he gestures at me to run along, so I naturally do. The class goes on lazily. I think I'm starting to get into the rhythm of the school. I have even stopped worrying about taking notes and being overtly attentive. The first days, I was pretty high-strung in class. Mutuo finishes his lecture about electricity early, but continues without a pause about the festival. So as you know, the festival is on the day after tomorrow. I hope everyone's projects are going to be successful this year. Have a good time, but also come Sunday. Please keep the meaning of this festival in your minds. Games and fried food! Everyone bursts out in laughter, and so do I. Yes, thank you, Mikado. Hold on. But what I meant was more the remainder of his silence is buried beneath the ring of the lunch bells, and everyone starts packing their things. Mutuo deliberates for a moment, but since almost nobody seems to pay attention anymore, he gives up and sits down. It's crowded in the hallway, or as crowded as hallways in the school probably get. Most of the students seem to be heading down to the cafeteria. Normally, I'd join the flow and grab a lunch myself, but today is different. Today I've been invited to lunch on the roof. An odd location, but that's where I was told to go. Fortunately, I managed to find shelter from the storm in the lee of the classroom door. Eventually, the torrent subsides, and I step tentatively out into the hallway, only to be met by Emmy, who comes flouncing down the hallway like a cannonball. Hey, Zhao, great timing! I have a super I have a super extra lunch today, as promised. Let's go upstairs. The stairway to the roof is a little dilapidated, but it's clearly been used recently. At the top of the stairs is a door, complete with missing padlock. I wonder who the intrepid individual was that removed the lock. Emmy shoves the door open and steps beaming into the sunlight. Suddenly, a tall, dark stranger appears out of nowhere, standing imposedly in front of us. Emmy flinches back, almost falling back down to the stairs. Eek, hello. Hello. Yeah, you scared me, Rin. Wait, isn't she... Hello. Noticing that Rin is speaking to me, Emmy looks curiously at me. You two know each other? I look confusedly at Emmy. She's that friend of yours? Rin has turned her gaze towards the clouds drifting above the school. I don't know you knew this person, Emmy. I didn't know you knew this person, Emmy. The awkward silence lasts for only a few seconds, until Emmy lets out a tiny giggle, shrugging the coincidence off. I invited his out for lunch. If you know him, that's just better. Oh? Does it mean I don't get food? Or did you invite him for lunch without the lunch? Neither. I have food for 3. Nice thinking. They walk to the other end of the roof, while I stay at the clock tower for a while, taking in the atmosphere. There's nobody else but us here. I guess the roof is not as popular as it is in other schools. A few rundown benches and tables are scattered around the edges, perhaps in an attempt to make the rooftop look less desolate. The small pebbles covering the roof rattle beneath our feet. I peek through the chain-link fence to look at the school grounds and beyond. Students are strolling in pairs of groups around the quadrangle and at the cafeteria. A few delivery trucks are driving past the school towards a convenience store nearby. Somewhere, a watchdog barks at a passerby. Somehow, when I look towards the town center, the small town feel strikes me very strongly, almost palpably. The hectic lifestyle of big metropolises seems so far away and foreign here. Nobody has to run to catch a bus like their life depended on it, or get their senses overloaded by the neon lights and traffic jams. I feel surprisingly optimistic about this new life of mine. Looking at my new hometown, even if it's only going to be mine for one short year. Finding out about my illness and having to move away from home all came so suddenly. I hadn't had time to think about how I feel about it. When I step out of the shadow of the clock tower to open, I feel warmth touching my back. The sun shines from a perfectly clear cerulean sky. A cool breeze sweeping over the rooftop makes me shiver, but only briefly. The wind carries the scent of trees and flowers, not smog and car exhaust like it used to just a few weeks ago. Emmy settles on a bench with Rin in tow, and produces 1 big and 2 small lunch boxes from her bag. Come on, Azao. What are you waiting for? She's beckoning me to join them, making room on the already small bench. I seat myself on the corner of the bench, to take as little space as possible. It's pretty cramped, but somehow all 3 of us fit on it. Impressive view. Emmy suppresses a giggle and places a lunchbox in front of Rin, and hands another lunchbox to me. Here you go. Lunch as promised. Homemade, no less. I'm impressed. Wow, this looks really good. Thanks. I make it myself when I can. Conversation dies off as I set about business of feeding myself. Taking a few bites, I glance up and notice Rin deftly opening the lunchbox and popping a forkful of food into her mouth using only her feet. Even though I've seen it before, I can't help but be impressed at her dexterity. It's also a reminder of the sort of place I am right now. Will I ever get used to sights such as this? I can't decide if getting used to such a thing would be a good thing or a bad thing either. Does getting used to this place mean I'm giving up on being a normal person? Or does that mean I'm becoming more understanding about those around me? I'm distracted from my thoughts at the sight of Emmy tearing into her lunch, as if it had insulted her ancestors. You seem pretty hungry. Emmy looks up, mouth half full, and swallows before nodding. My morning run always works up an appetite, which is great because then I burn through lunch pretty quickly. Helps me keep my girlish figure. What would happen if you'd lose it? Would you become a man? I very nearly choke on my lunch trying not to laugh. It's a figure of speech. Does your figure have to run in the mornings too? Do you always talk like this? Talk like what? Like what? I think that answers my question. Never mind. So, I struggled to think of small talk and settle on the obvious question. How'd you two meet? Rin seems content to let Emmy answer this question. Someone in the housing department thought we'd complement each other well, so we were assigned to rooms next to each other. Complement each other? Like shoes in a suit. Huh? Emmy giggles at my confusion. Yeah, you put the armless girl right next to the legless girl. Anyways. Bro, what? Put us together and we got all our limbs. Get it? So I started helping Rin get early in the mornings. And that was that. I mean, you can't help someone get dressed every morning and not get along. I see. Rin chooses this moment to interject. I have trouble with shirts. Right, that seems fairly obvious. Really? Kind of. This isn't helping, but at least Emmy seems to find the whole thing funny. That, combined with the fact that Rin is genuinely curious, makes me feel slightly better, and yet confused. I mean, you've got no arms. So, putting on a shirt seems like one of those things that would be difficult. You know what? I'm going to stop talking now. It'll save me a lot of trouble in the long run. Rin nods in what I suspect is meant to be a sage manner. I see. The conversation dies as I turn my attention back to my lunch. It's really quite good. Emmy finishes her lunch first and makes a contented noise. Ah, that was good. She busies herself with cleaning up her lunch. Rin speaks up. I'm thirsty. Oh, I almost forgot about that. Sorry. With a flourish, she reaches into her bag and removes a trio of juice boxes. She tosses me one that appears to be cranberry juice, one to Rin that appears to be some sort of strawberry milk, complete with pink color scheme, and keeps an unequally pink box of some kind of fruit punch for herself. Rin dexterously stabs her straw through the top of her box and begins to drink. I'm once again impressed by how flexible she is, but this time I keep my comment to myself. Somehow I don't think Emmy or Rin are the sorts of people to think twice about the way they work around their particular disabilities. Rin especially so. Indeed, she gives off the impression of being entirely unaware that she's missing any limbs at all. Whether or not that's a conscious decision is another matter. Honestly, I'm not sure. So, Hazao, how do you like it up here? It's quite nice, actually. I like high places for the view. Thanks for inviting me up here. And for the lunch, too. Emmy grins a 1,000-watt grin, pleased by my response, I suppose. No problem. Feel free to eat lunch with us anytime, okay? I won't make you a lunch, but you can bring your own up here. No lunch service? I don't know. Emmy looks mock offended, trying to take advantage of my good nature. The nerve. She giggles. Well, if that's your answer, I guess Rin and I will keep eating lunch all alone. I am suddenly assaulted by the most heart-rending puppy dog eyes I've ever seen as Emmy pounce. Kidding, I was kidding. I'd love to eat lunch up here again. Good location, and the company's okay too. Emmy frowns a bit at my declaration of okay, but she seems happy enough that I've accepted her invitation. I guess that makes us friends now. At least, acquaintances? The lunch bell rings. signaling a return downstairs. Rin, you didn't finish your lunch again. I wasn't that hungry. If you don't eat more, you're going to fade away. Rin shrugs, as if this is an acceptable risk. Come on, we better get going. The three of us head down the stairs together. The afternoon class passes. Once again, I find myself without a plan for something to do after school, so I head to the library to return a couple of the books I finished reading. Walking inside, I see there are about as many students here as there were on Tuesday, all the more evident from the almost total silence enveloping the room. As I drop the books I'd borrowed into the return slot in the counter, Yuko suddenly pops up from behind it, quite startled from the banging as I hit the trolley next to her. Sorry, Yuko, didn't mean to startle you. No, it's fine. It happens a lot. I'm used to it by now. Can I help you? It's okay. I think I know where everything is. Thanks anyway. I suppose I'll grab another book or two while I'm here. There's not much else to do, and after reading so much during my stay at the hospital, it's become a bad habit. It's become a hard habit to break. I wander down to the fiction section, towards the back of the library, scanning the bookshelves for anything that catches my eye. As I do, I look over to the corner where Hanako had been the last time I was here, and not really expecting anything to come of it. Surprisingly, though, she's there. Absorbed completely in a fairly thick book, I decide against intruding on her like last time, and get back to finding reading material. After an indiscernible amount of time spent perusing the aisles, I finally decide on a couple of books to get and slide them off the shelf. With a minimum of fuss, I quickly walk over to the counter, check out my books, and pop them into my bag as I walk out. By the time I leave the main building, sunset isn't too far away. A small trickle of students remain, but the majority have left, presumably to their homes and dorms. Feeling utterly drained, I head to my room and read the books I borrowed. There's been enough action and excitement for one day already. The first is Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. I know the story, of course, but I've never actually read the original book. It's just as trippy as I remember the story to be, with the wacky characters and the nonsense plot. I start thinking to myself, as some kind of an Alice too, haplessly tumbling down the rabbit hole of this cripple wonderland. Okay, that's a rather strong expression. Still, the isolated location and the overt way the school accommodates to absolutely everything is unsettling. It's like another world. I wonder why I can't shake the feeling of being an outsider like Alice, despite most everyone being so hospitable and friendly to me. Turning another page, my mind starts drifting further away from the book. It's quiet. It's quiet. I can hear my heartbeat thumping against the fabric of my shirt. For some reason, it makes me feel really bad, like it has since that time in the forest with Iwanako. Like I was locked in a cage with something nasty and scary. I put the book down for a while and stare at the ceiling, taking my time to shake off the feeling. 200 pages later, I fall asleep. I was like, I think now is a good time to... Alright, well... I'm just gonna go back to the main menu. I'm gonna take a bit of a break. So, well, thank you for watching. Bye for now. I've been, like, sitting on my ass for, like, 2 hours. Sorry.